In today's episode, I'm going to share with you why you should consider writing a business book and why it can have a real big impact on your business in 2021. Welcome back to the channel. So I have a hard time believing that it's been 13 years since I released my first book, What Men Don't Tell Women About Business. I never actually aspired to be an author, and back in school, I remember grade 10 at NORCAM Senior Secondary, my English teacher said she was going to give me a social pass in grade 10. That's the time when they give the dumb kid a grade just enough to go to the next level. And Mrs. Cameron was her name, and she said to me,
I'm going to pass you. You need to do a bunch of work over the summer, and you need to promise me that you'll never do a career that requires writing.
What's funny is, let's say, 15 years later, I'm releasing my first book, which went on to actually do really well and kind of launch the business where it is today. Now, that being said, I'm a firm believer that if I can write a book, you can write a book. A lot of people have a big picture in their head, or I guess maybe a misinformation in their head on what it takes to actually write a book. In an upcoming video, I'm going to actually go through the process that I go through when I'm writing a book, because I've now done 3 and I've got a bunch kind of underway right now. But in this video, I want to kind of encourage you carrot in front of you on why I want you to start thinking about writing a book this year, because there are huge opportunities and huge financial benefits and professional benefits to having a book kind of developed, written, and come out. So let's jump into the first of the 5 reasons why I really think you should consider this year. The first reason why you would want to write a book this year is it positions you to the market as a topical expert. When somebody writes a book, the assumption by the market is that person has invested a lot of time in learning the information so that they can convey it back to the market in a kind of a book format. Now, a lot of people release ebooks or white papers or kind of new versions of knowledge transfer. When I talk about a book, I'm talking about an actual physical book. Now, you can also have a Kindle version or a Kudo version or something like that. But having a physical book really pushes you outside of the group and positions you as an expert in the market. Experts, of course, get more attention. When you get more attention, you get more opportunities. More opportunities suggest that you'll get more business, more bottom line. We like all of that. So the number one reason to really write a book in 2021 is to position yourself as a topical expert in the business that you're in. The second reason, and probably the most important reason to me, is a book acts as an unbelievable marketing tool for prospects. Prospects who might not know you or know you well are going to start to kind of sniff around your business, especially if they have means and need, right? Means, the money to pay you, and need for the services you provide. I'll actually put a link up to the video I did previously, which talks about different types of prospects. There are only 3 as a bit of a spoiler. But when you are targeting prospects, it's one thing to say, we've been doing this for 15 years and we really know the business well. It's another thing to say, we've been doing this for 15 years and I actually wrote a book on the topic that we deliver. For a prospective audience and market, you having a physical book that you wrote on the topic really elevates you among peers who might be competing for that same business but not have a book. Really takes you up another level. And from a marketing perspective, there are a few things that are better than having a physical book that you can get in the hands of a prospect. The third reason why you'd want to write a book in 2021, and I actually alluded to this before in the previous points, is it separates you out from the competition and even colleagues. If you have 5 people that you're considering for work, one of them has written a book on the topic and the 4 others are just good at what they do, I would argue, and this is totally unscientific, that 90% of people will pay more attention to the person with the book than the other 4. And the reason why is that separates them out from their peers for a couple of reasons. 1, they've actually taken the initiative to write the book. 2, the prospect can read that book without talking to that person and be a bit of a voyeur. Right? Read through how they share information and what they know and determine if that person can bring them value in their business model. And I think 3, writing a book takes commitment. Now, it's much easier and probably harder than you think. And in a future video, which I talked about, we'll probably do it in the next month, I'm actually going to go through that because a lot of the beliefs people have about writing a book are wrong. And a lot of the things that they assume about a book need to be adjusted ever so slightly. It's just, there's a bit of a mind shift when it comes to writing a book, but it is the easiest thing that I do and also one of the hardest, which I know sounds crazy, but I'll explain more when we get in there. But you actually writing a book separates you out because you commit to getting something done, and then you have a physical representation of getting it done. I don't know anyone that I've met probably in the last 10 years who know that I write books that don't tell me that they're working on a book, that they have a book idea, that they're thinking about writing a book. But about 99.9% of those people will never actually start a book. Those that start a book probably command a higher level of respect because we know that they've taken it and actually get it done. Not unlike somebody who does, a graduate degree or, a doctor or a lawyer, somebody that commits to filling a process and completing it successfully, that tends to weigh even more to a prospective market. The fourth reason to write a book this year, which is going to seem a little bit different because it's not really directed to revenue, but it actually does have an impact on revenue, is the process of actually writing a book allows you to really examine and take apart your doctrine on how you do things. Anytime you're trying to teach others what you know how to do, you have to take it apart and look at it from the audience point of view. Summer before last, when I was hiking through France, I started working on the book Activating Champions. I had a pretty clear outline of what I was going to write to, but as I started to dive into the book, I actually started to take apart the individual tools of what was covered in the book and realized that a lot of them took kind of even a deeper understanding and me taking time to think them through so that they were clear, concise, and able to be duplicated by others. The byproduct of that process was now when we coach those tools, we even have a greater understanding and ability to discuss and illustrate the nuances that come with developing champions and managing them. And I really think the only way to do that is to write a book, or if you're planning to train other people to train it, you would tend to have to dissect it to that level. So writing a book really allows you to explore how you do what you do so that you can convey that information to others. And the fifth reason, hindsight is 2020, is having a book immediately jettisons you onto the speaker circuit. So if you're somebody who aspires to become a professional paid speaker, having a book removes a ton of the obstacles of getting the attention by speakers bureaus, organizations that book speakers, and the like. Even among speakers, those that have a book versus those that don't, it's just a tier system, right? It's a bit of a caste system. If somebody who's a great speaker doesn't have a book, I'm always curious why they don't have a book. The challenge, of course, has been publishing has been democratized over the last 10 years. So there really isn't anything standing in the way of somebody writing the book other than undertaking the process and then completing it and having it done. If you have aspired to becoming a professional speaker, having a book really is like snakes and ladders. You just go up the ladder and you jump major levels. If you're already a speaker, what I can tell you, because I was speaking for 4 years professionally before I had a book, once you have a book, the ability to get media attention and to double your speaking fees happen almost overnight. I remember being in New York on a press junket back in 2007, and I reached out to the New York Times and the Today Show, and I talked to them about the work that we did at GoCO. And when I say we, there was just 3 of us at that time. But once they knew that I had a book, then they were open to looking at the book before booking me. And then once I handed them the book, and they had a look through, I got booked immediately. New York Times did a story and I was on the Today Show. So having that book is really a VIP pass to get places that other people can't. Anyway, this is the year for you to write that book if you've been thinking about it. If you have comments about writing a book, feel free to put them in this video because I will be putting the content together for a little bit longer video on my approach to writing a book. But this really should be the year that you get it done. We've all, we're done with 2020. 2021 is looking much better. And I find writing a book like going to the gym. I don't actually ever look forward to it, but once it's done, I'm always glad I did it. And if you want a little bit of a laugh about behind the scenes of writing a book, I will put a link up here on how I blew up Christmas 2019, thinking I had a book done. And then, a vision coming to me at night that it was a piece of shit. And I had to rewrite it over my Christmas holidays in the bathroom, hiding from my family. So anyway, we'll put a link up here so you can have a boo. Plus, we'll put it on the end card. As always, thanks for watching. And remember, gladiators eat first, and they write business books to build their bottom line, build their credibility, develop a speaking business, separate themselves out from their competition, and to allow them to dissect their business models to better understand them so that they can convey them. See you in the next video.